Hello, wonderful people, and welcome back to today's episode. Today's theme is circles. I know it's a little weird, you may be wondering, but hang with that tension, hang with that curiosity of what the heck are they going to be talking about? Circles. Circles? Circles? Welcome back to another episode of Joy, the Journey of You podcast. We're your hosts, Devin and Chris, and we're here for joy.
This podcast is your permission slip to reconnect to your inherent joy and to embrace it.
Let's fill up the cosmic joy pot together as we dive in to today's episode. What other shapes are there in the world? No, circles is what we're going to talk about because circles are a very important structure when it comes to intuition. Last episode, we were talking about intuition, and there's a tool that is a secret magical tool, and that tool is circles. And specifically, why? Circles are a structurally, they're very integrous. They have a lot of integrity to them. So a circle can't be broken. It is uniform. It stays. It contains things, right? And so it's a very integral and integrous, powerful tool to channel your intuition. And it just makes it so easy. It's an easy structure to work with. And it's like, let's just make our lives easy. Let's make intuition easy. And so, by virtue of that, if we work with circles with intuition, it makes intuition easy and fun, even. Yeah. And then conversely, if you're not working with circles, intuition can be a little challenging and it can be really, you can use your ego to be interpreting that information. Last episode, we were talking a lot about kind of the muddledness and the lack of clarity and lots of that interpretation that can happen. And so we're going to demonstrate that to you today and share with you the difference and invite you into the world of circles and playing in that realm. Um, but as usual, what we love to share is our experience with this of like what were our lives like before using circles, what were our lives after using circles, and just to give you a little context as we guide you into it because our experience demonstrates that very well. So Chris, do tell the folks at home what was your life before circles, and then what did they bring for you?
So yeah, before circles, I feel like we shared in the last episode already about intuition that it was very much about the random hits that we get and the signs that we interpret. And yeah, a lot from the logical mind because I'm very, very left-brained. I come from a very left-brain background, so it's very left-brained, all of it. But the circle the circle work just allows me to really differentiate if I'm coming from a higher realm or my ego, and I can very well differentiate like what's the information that's coming through. I can sort it, and it's a very clear container for me. If it just feels safe, it has a boundary, and that limits also the information that comes through because I go in with a very clear intention. And yeah, and when we connect our energies, like when we like everybody can do a circle by themselves, but when we connect, when we do it with two people or even in a group, when we do circles and the energies connect, the information in it, I feel becomes even more vibrant and very more clear. And that's why we both also work with a coach because sometimes it just gets very dense, and it's much easier if you connect your energies to receive that information. And one story I would love to share, I hope that's okay because we didn't talk about it before,
I'm
but
at
what
it.
just came through is because it just really blows my mind every time I think of it, and it's just such a perfect example, is when Devin asked me to illustrate her book. And I've never done anything like that before. So I had no idea of what a price would be, for example, right? And so we said, okay, let's tune in. And I asked my coach if she would also join, and we do like a do it a threesome. and and she didn't have time, so she tuned in by herself, and Devin tuned in, I tuned in together, and Devin got the full price in dollars, whereas I got the installments in euros, and it was like, I don't know, maybe 30 euros apart, and like it was mind blowing to me. And while we were on the call, Rachel sent me a text message with the amount that she had received when she tuned in, and she got the exact amount of dollars that Devin got, and she knew nothing what we got. So it was like, it was so mind-blowing of, all the numbers that could have come through, we got exactly that. And that was so reassuring also for me, because during the work, my ego kept saying, oh my God, this is too much. This is too much. And then I kept getting, but we all three got it separately from each other. And it was so clear. So that's, to me, such a good demonstration of what circle work really is. And when we tune in together, what happens? Like, we get information, we can get it differently. Like, I got it in euros, you got it in dollars. But it was just, yeah, just really awesome.
That's a really good example. And
Right.
yeah, I love that that just came in, and it really speaks. It's a really prime example that also has a lot of charge, right? Like, because especially when there's a lot of charge, we can really default into the left brain and what we would
Mhm.
think would be
Exactly.
logical. And that was a prime example of like, just get your brain out of the way and let the circle serve you. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, and same as you, as we've said, but it was really before working with circles. It was more of a random nature of my intuitive guidance and like these guideposts or signs in my life, and it was the dynamic of it was much more of like a response or reaction to intuitive hits, rather than getting like specific guidance on anything. So once getting into the structure of circles, is there's the specificity is
Mm.
just like on point, so I can have intentions and go into specific subjects and not feel confused, and be clear and clean, and it's just so clear, concise, and to the point. And then I love that you also add that dynamic of that when we come in together, the synergy
Mm.
that happens when multiple people are tuning into a circle together.
Yeah,
Um,
it becomes even more obvious, like it's so crystal clear. And
mhm.
also, yeah, like you said, when we come in, we can answer a specific question with it, right? And with intuition, it's like, what if I get nothing? I get nothing. Right?
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah, yeah. It can be a little nebulous and not so laser focused.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So those are our experiences, but we would love for you to have an experience. So we're gonna guide you through some different ways to approach this. So take
Yeah.
us away, Chris.
Yeah, so I would love for you to just think of a subject or a topic that you would love to connect to with your intuition, something that maybe you've been trying to problem solve, maybe something that you've been trying to figure out that you would love some higher guidance on. And for now, I'd love for you to connect to it, to this topic in a way that you would usually do. Like, how would you come towards this topic if you did not know how to make circles?
Like, left to your own devices, just how would
Exactly.
you just default try this?
Exactly. Like, how would you connect to intuition and feel into that and see what comes through? What do you notice? What is the quality of information that comes to you? What kind of answers do you get to
Mhm.
this? And do you feel it physically? And or is it more like thoughts in your mind? And do you get that sense of clarity, or is it more muddled?
Mhm.
And just really feel into that. And yeah.
Yeah, it's wild. I'm going back to when, like, before I did circles, like, and I'm just like, whoa. Like, oh, like a lot to decipher here.
Yes. And it's like, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, right?
Mm.
And yeah, now Devin will guide you through a circle process. And before we do that, because this is something that both of us use a lot in our coaching processes, so you can get kind of a taster of it. And what's important, like we already mentioned in the last episode, is that we really come from our right hemisphere, from our imagination. We open up. And when we come from our right hemisphere, we receive pictures, we receive colors, we can receive anything depending on how your creative mind is structured, it will have a very specific way of communicating with you. So it can also be like a physical sensation, and whatever comes through, let that be it. Don't be judgmental or have expectations of how it needs to be, but just let that be it. And yeah, you will be able to
Yeah.
unwrap it.
Totally. And I love this frame up because it's so critical, because a lot of times when people start off in this, you have a concept of it. And it's like, just let anything happen, any image, any color, any sensation. And if you just like let anything could happen here, that is where we're in that unknown state of that right hemisphere of the brain in our hearts, and that just an expanded state versus when we're in that state of here's what I expect. Everything narrows down and you just don't open up to that experience. And so as part of that, let's set the intention as we go into this, you guys, that you're going to receive an experience from the circle, right? And that you don't know what that experience is going to be like, but you're open to it. And it could be anything. It could be any image, color, sensation, words, whatever. But we're just going to set that intention right now before we go into this, that you will receive something, and that something will resonate with you, and you'll be able to connect with it. Beautiful. And then from there, what I invite you to do is now imagine that in front of you, you're going to draw an imaginary circle, right? So it's like literally like you can take your finger in front of you, you could imagine a hula hoop in front of you, but that you can actually like imagine, and if you can't imagine, imagine that you could imagine to see that there's a circle in front of you. And before we do anything, just like see a circle. And then I'm going to invite you to see that circle as like a gold color, and it's sparkling and it's glowing. And so that you can kind of feel the energy off of that circle in front of you. Yeah. And then what we're going to do is we're going to just step a little closer to the circle. Not quite getting there yet, but just step a little closer. Just kind of like getting to know this circle, feeling it out, feeling its orb, feeling its essence. Yeah. Notice that quality before even getting in. And then I invite you to imagine stepping through this golden veil of this circle, inside of this circle, and noticing what it feels like inside of this circle. And then now notice the quality of information and sense of clarity you have. And I'll be quiet for a moment so you can receive that information and clarity. And so you just sit here and you hold that intention of what your question was in this circle, and then allow the circle to show you. So in that, I invite you to notice, how do you feel in this circle? What's your sense of clarity, of your own intuition in this circle? And what's the quality of information? And who else is in there? Is your puppy in there with you? Yeah, what's the energy here when you're in this circle and when you engage with your intuition in this circle? What's it like for you? As you can all tell, for me, my pup Anaway is always in my intuition circle. That's actually how her and I connected. Long story, I'll share that one later. But for me, inside of my intuition circle, it's a very uplifting, vibrant energy where it's very joyous, to where that information is very clear, but there's a bubbliness to it, an effervescence to it, um, the joy of intuition, but also that sense of clarity too. Yeah. How about you, Chris? What can you share?
Yeah, so I was instantly uplifted in the circle as well. Excuse me. And my question was, I have so many things that want to be done at the moment. And I'm like, okay, so what's my priority? What do I do next? What's next on my list? And what I received, because my subconscious, superconscious mind, loves to send pictures. And what I received was a green ball, like like this. And it was glowing. And what was obvious to me is playfulness. So which of the topics that want to be done now, send out a playfulness that invites me to do them. So go by playfulness is what I received in the circle.
Mm.
And it was super clear. And then Ani started barking and I was like, yeah, and she wants to play too. That's perfect.
Love
Thank you
that.
for that. Yeah.
Of course. And yeah, after you sharing, I love that you shared specifically like what you got and what images, because that gives people context. So I want to share too that I get images sometimes, but then I also get these physical sensations that I feel
Mm,
in my body. So this time it was a very expansive feeling, a letting go. It was for me, I was more so asking of basically a yes or no question. Yeses to me are very expansive and no's to me are very contractive.
mm,
And so that's the sensation I was getting, but I was also getting a visual field of that expansion too.
mm.
And so I share that and we share that to let you know that, again, anything can happen. Your intuition can speak to you in very creative ways, very
Mm.
creative ways. And so just roll with it. Roll
Yeah.
with it.
And I love that you just shared the yes and a no because that's what we call the truth circle also. So if you have a very specific question like, should I do this? Is this my truth? You can step into a circle, like create a circle like that and step into it and just feel like I get like a green big yes when it's a yes, but I feel expansive at the same time. And I get a contractive red no when it's a no. And and like this, especially when it comes unexpected, I know that it's not my logical mind. And like that was the first kind of when I started playing with it, and I was like, "What?" But I wanted a yes, you know. And but I know that if it's a yes in the circle, or if it's a no, I know it's like when you flip a coin, both sides win. So I know that if I get a yes in this circle, even if I felt like I wanted to hear the no, then it's a yes and it's good for everybody. It's to the highest
Hmm.
good for everybody if I
Yeah.
follow through with that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a good point because a lot of times, again, what we can expect logically is very different than what is actually given to us intuitively from our higher self. And
Mhm.
so, and then you also introduce the concept of and the premise of the intention of the circle, right? So
Right. Yeah.
we were today using a circle of just connecting to intuition, but you can also use a circle and label that circle as my truth circle. And that intention of what that circle will hold, it will hold that energy once you delineate what the intention is. And then when you step in, you'll receive the truth of whatever that intention was. So
Mm.
today in particular, we've just done your connection to your intuition. But do know that, yeah, you can totally use the same premise of the circle for is it true for me? And it's cool it's so fun to play with this. And I love to introduce truth circles really early for people because it gives people that experience of what is my yes, what is my no.
Exactly. And the
Mhm.
funny thing is now, you know, you had said that from the logical mind, we often get a different answer. The logical mind also loves to keep us safe, right? So when we step into that circle and get a yes, then there's chances that you have to move outside of your comfort zone, right? Where the logical mind wanted to keep you inside. And so,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but the big advice is whatever you get in a circle, follow through with that.
Mhm. Yeah, but that really speaks to having a coach, right? You mentioned actually in this call that we both have coaches and we also coach people. And this is why like this just gets a little further of that. It's one thing to be receiving intuitive guidance, another thing to be acting on intuitive guidance, and I'm sure we will talk about that in later episodes. But it comes to me right now is if you struggle with this and you don't receive anything, that could be a guidepost that you need some support. And so don't beat yourself up if you didn't get anything in this or if you're struggling with connecting with this. Just see that for what it is and just recognize that like you may need support with that. And that's okay because we were taught this, right? We didn't know this stuff. We were taught and then we got guidance and then we have coaches. So the more specific that we are getting with our intuitive circles, there are time frames that we need support. Just like Chris was sharing when we tuned into the illustration of my book. Um, we had somebody else out just to like because we could have totally been in our logical mind and our ego and right to have somebody else as being like the gut check right is and so that's very useful. So I just that's a really good point to bring up that if you didn't get anything here, it's not that you are not intuitive. Again, as we said, everyone has intuition. It's just whether or not the pathways are open for you and there may be something in your unconscious that's blocking you. So if so, just note that and reach out. But also keep playing with it, right? Keep
Mm.
playing with it. Keep
Yeah,
trying.
it's really about the playfulness because that is the right hemisphere is that creativity, is that imagination, is that inner child. And it's what we've been taught pretty early on, usually, to dismiss it. And that's why for many people it's hard to reconnect to that, and to that, be in that playful mode and really receive those playful things. So it's really, yeah, it's intentional, it's a path. It doesn't happen straight away always, but it's open for everyone.
Hmm. Yeah. And so by virtue of that, that's where we were talking about the ease earlier, right? So like being in circles is really easy, but it's being playful and being curious and being in your right hemisphere. That's the hard part.
In the beginning, but
In the beginning,
it gets
exactly.
super easy. Yeah,
It
like
does.
instantaneous. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So that's where the intention comes in. When we set the intention of I'm going to play with this, I'm going to just have fun with this and be curious. And so that's in the beginning a really great energy to bring to it. Yeah. So, folks, how about you? What was your experience? What was your experience here? We'd love for you to just for yourself, at least write down 3 words that describe the difference that you experienced today in using your old form of just connecting to intuition willy-nilly. And then this new form of circles and just concretize and like lock that in for yourself, pin that down that this is like so in this we're not using circles. This is how I experienced 1, 2, 3 words. In circles, this is how I experienced 1, 2, 3 words. And then, as Chris was saying, if you received an action step, take action, do it, right?
Es importante.
Muy importante. Importante, yes, sí. And then we've already said this, but play with circles, right? This is your invitation to play with circles this week. It's just like throw
Set an
caution to
in,
the wind.
yeah, set an intention and jump in.
Mhm. Yep, yep.
And then share what you get, share your experience with us. We love comments, whether you write them or you tell them or share them in any way, or with a
Mhm.
family member, friends, whoever, but really sharing this experience, as Devin has said, or we have said in past episode, it makes the experience real. It brings it into your life. It makes it substantial instead of just being something theoretic out there. And
Yeah,
that just feels really important.
yeah, yeah. Because it's like this mix of the fun of intuition, but if you're just hanging out and like, cool, that was fun and exciting, it's where intuition can actually serve us to change our lives and to create really profound changes and big things. But and I'm sure there'll be an episode that, as we progress into things, but it's this mix of like playing in the circles but then taking the action that the circle gives you. And that's where when you write it down, you make it real. You make it real. Like you take it from that higher realm into this realm and saying like I caught it and pin
Mm,
it down. Um and again, if it wasn't a direct action, if it's just that sense, it's like you get to like claim that of like here's how I experience my intuition when I'm connected in a circle with clarity and like, oh, that feels good or that
mm,
feels solid or that, right? Like those are even things that you can be pinning down for yourself and collecting for you to like realize how you feel even inside of yourself connected to your own intuition in a structural integrous way, right? Because that's how
mm,
we even started this episode to say that structure has integrity, but circles in particular have like such a strong integrity that they just hold us. They
mm,
just hold us. And so like let that land, like let that drop in and really like come into you, into your cells, into your being of like that's what I experience and this is what's possible for me.
mm.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Right on, right?
I also want to share that I hold monthly full moon circles, and we practice intuition in them too. So if you want to have a group experience of it, it's free for you to join. I can share the link in the show notes if I manage to remember. Um, so yeah, so you can play in a group and see how that is.
Awesome.
Mm.
Yeah. So keep playing, folks. I think that's the big message here, right?
Yes,
I mean, there's so many messages here, but have
that's the big
fun.
one.
Have fun with it. Have fun
Exactly.
with it.
Play.
Play.
Play until next time.
Until next time, because we're here for joy and we're here for your joy. And so here's to more joy and play. And until next time, Lots of
See you
love.
then.
Bye.